you don't make this right, you will have a civil war on your hands. Then war it is. Burn it down.
We all must choose a side.
Well, we left off in season 1 with the reminder to trust no one. So how important would you say that sentiment is to the characters and the fans during season 2?
Well, I think that it remains a survival advice. And I think that, look, the idea, the central theme, if there is one, is that in a world where there's, an arbitrary power system, meaning that whoever's in charge is in charge because they were born to it. Basically, they're in charge because of an elaborate scam that convinced everybody they're king. In that world, everything's fair game, right? There's no meritocracy. There's no winning by studying hard or being a good person. The only way you win is by out manipulating everybody else. So that remains the rules of the game.
No, I was just going to say, and what we come to experience in the second season is what kind of children does that ultimately spawn?
Exactly. It's a great point. The central plot of this season concerns the kids. And if you've lied and cheated and stealed to survive, as Catherine has, what kind of children do you produce? That's the open question.
Well, yeah, that was actually going to be my next question, because speaking of children, I am very curious to see what Catherine's relationship will be like them in season 2, especially now that Charles has taken the throne.
Let's say it's complicated at best. This is classic helicopter parenting to a whole other level. This is, again, and Catherine is such a powerhouse. She has... as I said, she's done unspeakable things to get her children to a place where they're safe, but they have never experienced the challenges she has. So on some level, there is built-in conflict with them because they are to the manor born in a way that she never was. And yet she needs them because they are, in a way, her purpose for doing everything that she's done.
Well, another relationship that I found very interesting to play out in season 1 was obviously Catherine and Rahima. It was very tumultuous, I would say. You never really knew where it was going to go. But given how the first season ended, what can you say about where that might lead in season 2?
Well, I think when we catch up, look, there's a time period, right, where the kids have grown, and Rahima is Catherine's most trusted. She is her #1 confidant. And that's where we start the season. But this story of Catherine is charted through her relationship with Rahima. And in that way, Rahima is Catherine's conscience.
We can also say that Rahima learned at Catherine's feet much better than Catherine could have anticipated.
Exactly. Right. The student is slowly challenging the teacher. But the question is, what happens when Rahima wants more independence from Catherine? What happens now that Rahima's a woman and with a romantic life, and when do they come into challenge to each other? That's what this season is about, is the most trusted slowly falling from grace.
Well, lastly, I mean, obviously this series is so good at blending fact and fiction, and now you are bringing in this major historical figure like Queen Elizabeth I. What were some aspects of her that were important to stay true to history, and where did you want to take some creative liberty?
Well, Catherine and Queen Elizabeth, they were the 2 most powerful women in Europe at a time when women had no legal rights, right? I mean, women were not supposed to have any autonomy, and they somehow, for years, decades, maintained their position of power, both with a keen sense of public relations, both of them playing a part to keep the male gaze at bay. Catherine playing this, all dressed in black, widow, witch-like figure, Queen Elizabeth playing the Virgin. And they were intertwined throughout their lives. 2 of Catherine's sons were betrothed to Elizabeth. They wrote letters, great, compassionate, sort of friendly letters, but they never actually met, as far as we know. Nobody can prove there was not a secret trip to Europe in which they met, which is what we're dramatizing. And it was just too good to resist putting these 2 women in the same room and these 2 actors in the same room.
Our basic attitude was anything you cannot prove happened, we're at liberty to make it happen.
Hey, that's a great attitude for a show. Awesome. Well, it looks like that is about my time for today, but thank you guys so much for chatting with me. I'm excited to see what season 2 is going to bring.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Life is about what you are willing to do to survive. and I am willing to do anything.